Good afternoon. It's Sunday. I've been busy. Not as busy as perhaps I should have been, but I've been busy. So, let's get down to making some lace. I'll cover everything. Right. I am going to break a bit of a habit of the lifetime and slide these around here a little bit. Steal this bit from here and push that up there and bring this down here. This allows me to have more working space down here so I can keep longer bobbins. Problem is, it also means the problem areas, well, are now much further away. Almost a little too far away, frankly, but it does mean I have a better working area, so we're going to do that because we've only got a bit to go. So let's have a look. Right. 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 Can now make them a bit longer, which makes them a bit easier to work with. Right. Right. It's a little bit too long, really. Oh, I didn't top my drink up. Hang on. things to show you later. No, you are the wrong ones. I meant to go that way, that's why. This is a big mess, and there we go. Pull it down a bit and then I can see to sort it out. There we go. in some more thread on this bobbin. Hang on, how does this normally work? It goes somewhere it's supposed to go. This is supposed to point down over the top, but normally the loop's on the other side. How do I do this? A brain fart. How the fuck do I do this? It's got. How do I do this? It's one of those moments when being me is real shit. I've done this hundreds of times and it works really, really well. And now my brain is not working. Because I need it to be the other way round. But I can't make it be the other way round. My brain's just not braining. Because you're supposed to have... That's supposed to come down on the front, like it did last night, but I can't make it come down with the loop on the left. I guess I'm just going to have to frig it, aren't I? I don't see why my brain's not braining. Brain, you're useless. How can you be so shit to me when I need you most? No, that didn't friggin' work. I had it then. There. That's what I wanted. Why was that so fucking hard? Oh, sit still, you annoying bags of fur. Shh. Shush. Amy, that's enough. Puppies. Just sit still. I didn't add one, did I? Yes, I did. 1, 2, 3, 5. Yes, I did. Don't need to be making more mistakes after all. Oh, goodness dookies. Rory's tight though. See, this is why I don't move the square up. It feels really weird being so far away. What I really need are some of these blocks, but half the height. So I could have moved, you'd like have them on the outside and take like the little half one off the top and put it at the bottom so it could move up a couple of inches, but not, you know, like 4 or 5, because 4 or 5's a bit much. I need another pair of bobbins. Morning, my friend. Well, afternoon my time. It's nearly 3:30, but yes. Hello, how are you? I'm very much regretting my decision to move the square up, because normally I don't. And I'm reminded why I don't. Because basically, if I sit comfortably, I can't reach. because these squares, so if I move this one, right, you can't really see. But if I move the one that's here, well, there's the top and there's the bottom. It's quite a big move up, and it's a bit big. It's a bit much. So, kind of wish they were half-sized squares, if you know what I mean, or half the height. So I only moved it up 1 or 2 inches. That would be ideal. I'm sure your mum would. I will let you off, Naughty Cat. You know that. But doesn't it feel like we were only here mere hours ago? So. Naughty Cat's mum's cool. Mine's too busy shagging half the universe to even admit that I exist. So, you know. To the point, I don't know what she's called now. I don't know where she lives. And nor she doesn't know where I live. Nor does she know that I got married, got divorced. Or anything. Whatever. My email hasn't changed and she chooses not to talk to me. So, I worry not. 2, 3, 4. I do generally act like she doesn't exist and she's died. Well, yeah, I mean, I do generally kind of make out along the lines of she is deceased. Because, well, she might be. You know, with any luck kind of thing, you know. And I do genuinely mean that. Yeah, exactly. And it saves awkward questions, you know. So it's usually things like, my mother was. Well, she was. I don't know if she is now. I can only speak for the past, and I haven't spoken to her in nearly 25... Actually, it's almost 25 years to the day. So, you know, let's not be pretending that I have any clues whatsoever. She did for a while after... the last contact I had with my mother was a little bit like watching Mastermind. Where it's the kind of no this, no that, no repetition, right? But there was repetition. The last time I spoke to... I know what you mean. Last conversation I had with my mother... I say conversation. It was a tad one-sided. And I never would have dared normally to speak to one of my parents in such manner. But on this occasion, bitch deserved it, right? We've already established that my mother was a uniquely special lady, right? My mother, after I got out from having leukemia, walked out on my dad. And when I say walked out, he... went to go that weekend down to see my grandma to tell her how ill I'd actually been, because they kind of downplayed it a lot. My mother wouldn't go. You know, oh, I'll stay at home with the dog. Yes, she hated the dog, I don't think. But, well, that says a lot, she hated the dog. But she said she'd stay with the dog. And that was normal. My mother didn't go anywhere. She stayed at home. She didn't like going... Well, it's not that she didn't like going out. She didn't like going places, basically, with my dad. Or me, for that matter. She didn't like going out with her family. Let's be quite accurate there. So, my mother stayed at home. My dad drove to the other side of the country to tell my grandma how ill I'd been. He was away 48 hours, if that. Came home, found a Dear John on the mantelpiece. Fuck you, I've left. I've taken loads of your stuff. You will never see me again. Okay. Yeah, I was a little bit upset because, wasn't expecting it. I kind of knew it was coming, but I made her promise me she would talk to him, and, well, clearly she didn't. Couple of months later, she wrote a letter to my dad demanding £40,000 as an amicable split. And I don't know about you, but, having 40 grand to hand is generally not something you have. But my dad was in the process of working out how to give her £40,000 when she decided to file for divorce. Bear in mind, she'd been knobbing some bloke for months at this point, and that was why she'd left. My mother lied quite a lot on the divorce papers. And on the particular day in question, my father had phoned me because he didn't want me to hear it via any other means. Now, I'm not quite sure what other means I would have heard it from because, it's not like my mother and father were famous people. Therefore, it's not going to be in the papers or anything. Just, as I mentioned yesterday, while my entire medical history is not necessarily up for grabs, when I was born, I was 6 weeks early. They had to call out the helicopter. I was a breech birth in the sense that not only did I come feet first, well, I didn't. I came arse first, feet wrapped round my head. So it meant that my mother very much struggled, but did give birth naturally. I'm not going to pretend that this probably did not cause significant damage to parts of my mother. She reminded me pretty much a few times a week, every week of my life, how while she was pregnant, I'd bounced on her bladder, so she had no bladder control. How I was a breech birth, how I'd killed my twin in her stomach, how basically, making me feel so good about myself, as we established yesterday. So, despite, at this point, best part of 30 odd years, well, nearly, let me work it out. I'd have been 28, right? So nearly 30 years of this. She wrote on the divorce papers, citing that she had no one to talk to, that there were no children as part of the marriage. Now, I know at 28 you aren't a child anymore, but bearing in mind, I was lying, potentially dying still. I had not been declared free of the hospital. I was very much a dependent. And she denied my very existence. So my father phoned me to tell me. So I kind of thanked him, put the phone down, rang my mother's place of work. Oh, she's not in this week. We'll get her to ring you. Okay. I'd never phoned her work before. Can't even remember who they were. My mother rang. She wasn't at a conference thing. She was off with some bloke. She was in a bloody shopping centre. But my mother, being my mother, answering the phone and all that. Hi, Liz. You fucking bitch. And I swore at her until she hung up. I believe I got to nearly 30 minutes telling her exactly what I thought of her and her antics and what she was doing, and well, that's the last conversation we had. As I said, conversation isn't really the word for it. It was very much one-sided. But I don't exactly regret this, as you can possibly imagine. I am not regretting that this was our last communication, for I feel somewhat vindicated. Because bearing in mind, for my dad to pay her back, my dad had to borrow all of my savings to do it. So basically she took my money too, right? I did get it back, don't get me wrong. But at the time, she took my money and all to fund her love nest, which apparently she blew through all of the money real quick. So I did hear from her in technicality, bear in mind, part Vulcan deal. I did hear in technicality from her for Christmas and birthdays, in the sense of she would send me a present. Now, before you get all excited, oh, that's nice. No. For anyone in the UK, she would send the free shit you get with Reader's Digest. So it might be a pen with Reader's Digest written on it. It was always some real tatty piece of crap, right? One year she excelled herself and sent me a video. Yeah, a VHS video, a professionally done one. The kind you can buy on Amazon. Of my favourite book. Yeah, when I was 4. Suitable for ages children 3 to 5. This is what my mother sent a now 30-year-old adult without children. Funny enough, I gave it away to someone who had a child of an appropriate age. But yeah, this was my mother's idea of appropriate. But fortunately, she stopped doing it, and well, I didn't mind. She didn't tell me where she lived. She didn't tell me. All I had was a mobile number for her, which she changed after I'd sworn her. So I couldn't contact her, but she could have contacted me. My phone number and my email had not changed until nearly 6 years ago. She could have found me if she wanted to in kind of almost the intervening 20 years, but she chose not to. And to be honest, whatever. I mean, I do know that she got some updates, because her ex-best friend regularly saw my dad. Couldn't stand her quite so much after she'd done the whole not visiting me in hospital and running out on my dad thing. But was still civil to her. No, don't be grumbles. You being grumbly pup, Mr. Paws. You grumbling. Somebody was not good this morning. Somebody woke up on the wrong side of bed and tried to kill his sister this morning. I wonder who that was. But there was no blood. There was just a lot of noise. You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you? No. He does have a form of PTSD. Something triggers him while he's asleep. I've only ever once seen him lose shit while he was awake. Always been, while he's asleep, something kind of touching his butt, and Amy has to die. I think he assumes it was her as he wakes up, but it's obviously not always her. Is it, Mr. Paws? No, don't maul me. Hang on, dog. Hello. You get plenty of hugs, and you've had biscuits today. You've been out in the warms. You're lovely toasty warm, and you smell like dog who's been out in the warms. You're a hot dog. Yes, you are. You're a hot dog. I really need to stop doing things in prime sitting in garden time, don't I? We should go out and play in the garden, really. Yes, we should. But I'm doing this. Aren't I? Hey, little man. What do you want, miss? What? It's my nose. Come on. Off you get. Oh. Come on, Rory. You lie down. You lie down there. You lie down there. You be good boy. No, that doesn't mean maul. That doesn't mean get up and maul me. No, it doesn't. I know you love me too. Yeah. My co-worker suffers a similar issue in that I'm not entirely sure. I believe he's got 2 siblings. Maybe 3. So I think he's got 2 brothers and a sister. Because I swear there is the hated sister-in-law, but that could also be his sister, so I know that sounds really weird, but I'm sure he called her sister-in-law at one point, but that could just be because he was, when he's stressed like me, he gets all of his words wrong. Well, let's go with that he's got 2. So the sister, the one I'm thinking of anyway, she works a little bit near a nautical, and during COVID, teachers were not in school. They were working from home. She then declared after COVID that she was unable to work in a school due to stress, and tried to claim that she could work from home. And if I've got my calculations right, her husband stroke partner stroke whatever he is has never had a job, because someone in the collection has never worked, right? Then there's another one who has a sister-in-law, so he's got a sister-in-law who is kind of, like my mother. Yeah, they're real keepers, both of them, to be honest. But for example, when COVID hit, I was more help to his mother by trying to find places, by trying to help my co-worker get her food, because despite the fact that they live 5 minutes drive away, they couldn't be asked to help their mother. So my friend, my co-worker who lives probably in an hour and a bit's drive away from said mother, was the one having to drive down in the don't visit and do like ninja food drops and organise food deliveries, and while they sat doing nothing. One of the collection, as I say, is a professional, never worked in his life, and basically it's just an utter nightmare. And it's there's been medical stuff that's kind of not been sorted, and it is a horrendous nightmare. And so it is hard to hear the stories of my poor co-worker, which is why I try to be very supportive, because Well, they don't really get it from their family. Because the sister is golden haired, can't do anything wrong, despite the fact that all she does is move from screw up to screw up. So, you know. I've shown more concern for my co-worker than his family, so it is truly, you know, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are times I don't entirely understand the situation, because obviously I've not really met everybody. I have met my co-worker and his wife and children, briefly, but, well, I've met my co-worker, obviously, but I met the wife and children briefly. And they're nice people. You know, I'll get messages from him, you know, so-and-so wanted me to show you this, and, you know, all these kind of things. So, you know, it's a done deal. I feel very welcome, even though, you know, not exactly round there for tea, you know. Yeah, it is kind of sad when, you know, someone who is not biologically related to you cares more than those who should. Now, of course, the answer to that is you can't pick your family. Hello, I've met my mother. And obviously, you know, your mother is up there with mine. So, you know, on that point of view, we can relate to the, you know, if... you know, I genuinely mean it. If I found out my mother had actually died, for sure, there might be a street party on order. You know, it sounds hideous, but I do actually mean it. The world would be a better place knowing she's not in it. Oh, piss off, bobbin. Stay on the pillow. Christ's sake. But I'm sure you understand, you know, it's not that you don't love them. You just love them when they're over there, and, like, a lot over there, preferably asleep. It is, to be fair, it is very true, you know. The further away you are, the happier we are that you are over there. I mean, I actually had a... Yes, to be honest, yes it is. I had, when I was younger, I had a really good friend. Their now wife was the main cause of our friendship's demise. She was a special lady. I assume she's still around, actually, but, yeah. So I'm just trying to work out where... Well... And to be honest, we've all got a bit of that within us. We can all be a bit like that, but some people really have excelled in this practice to a huge, you know. But like I said, when I was younger, it might be even more than that. It might almost be a form of schizophrenia. And... Certainly I had a really good friend, and when I was like, I don't know, 16 to 20 something, they were a very good friend. But you couldn't really be with them for more than half an hour without wanting to punch them in the face. I loved them to pieces. I'd have done anything for them as long as I didn't kind of have to go and see them. Because it's hard to explain, but let's say, I know, someone ran into your car while it was parked in the car park, perfectly legally, minding its own business. And then, halfway through the conversation, well, it's your fault. Where did that come from? 2 minutes ago, you were agreeing that the guy who drove into me was an arse. Now it's suddenly my fault. Where did that come from? And suddenly the whole world is your fault. And it got a little much. And I couldn't handle it. But for about half an hour, they were on your side. They were sympathetic. After that, they hated you. They said, or they acted like it was all your own fault. You brought it on yourself. no point whining about it. You know, you should have done better. You shouldn't have parked there. You shouldn't have, you know, whatever it was, you know. And you're kind of going, I'm sorry, how did you come to this conclusion? Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, we talked about this last night, didn't we? Is that I very much understand that one. You know, the undermining your confidence at every potential opportunity, disguised as for your own benefit. It's a bit like saying, with all due respect, you're an arsehole and you're a complete waste of humanity. Where's the respect in that? I'm sorry. How am I supposed to find any level of respect in that sentence? It is those kind of moments that our parents have brought us. And it will be, you know, oh, well, that's tragic. Of course, well, you know, if you'd listened to me, of course, it wouldn't have been like that. Or if you'd done this as I taught you as your child, and you're like, you did, but you didn't think to ask, you know. Hi, Fizz and V. That's very narcissistic. That's exceptionally narcissistic. It is a very common trait of the average narcissist that when you play them at their game, they can't handle that. No. My dear friend Nautical, you may not be perfect, but you are not this level of person, right? I mean, we've all got the potential to be a bit of an arsehole. I mean, hello, I've met myself, right? But some of these people, 24/7, you know, not the kind of people that we need to populate, you know? Yeah, I mean, that's... I think that was part of my mother's problem, and half the reason she never ever phoned me up to speak to me again was because on that day, when I swore at her and I told her exactly what I thought of her new boyfriend, what she was doing to my dad, what she'd written on the form, and frankly, I just let rip 28 years of bile. I think she was a little blindsided because I thought she thought I was really, oh, mummy, that's terrible. No, you deserve this one, bitch. Yeah, choke on it. I probably said such things to her as well. I don't actually remember what I said, but I do remember it was 28 years of bile that I just opened the floodgates and let it go. There was no filter. There was no, oh, that could be offensive. Good. Right, add that one in. Next. Bumping up the priority list. It very much was. How very dare you? I don't remember much of the conversation other than pretty much it was made of 90% swear words. And went on for about 40 minutes. Other than, I felt ever so pleased with myself when I was done. So, my parents would have been appalled. Good, great. Glad I did it. Not, came a close second was there was a guy who worked in our office many years ago when I worked for a very different company. and we had Novell server, and he claimed that doing a DIR changed the ownership of the files. Well, that was clearly not true, because there were multiply owned files. If a DIR did in fact change them, well, then the last DIR person would own them all. And so I called him a cunt. And he stormed off in a vicious mood, and I kind of sat there smiling at myself, because I'd finally managed to tell him what I thought of his, his skill. And my boss came up and she said, "Liz, we need to talk." And I went, "Okay." And she kind of said, "You can't say that in the office." And I looked at her and went, "But it's true." And she went, "Even if it is true, you're not supposed to say these things in the office." And she went off to talk to him. Do you know the best bit? She made him come and apologise. Because, well, clearly when she went in to try and be the soft arbitrator in the middle. Oh, I can show you Dave's beads. Hang on. Here you go, Mark. Now, on the subject of Ooh Pretty. Right, so on the subject of pretty, I have been busy. These are very much preliminary, please understand. Now, you're going to need a rag to see these, because, well, they're dark. So, a dark rag is not the answer. Let me find my tan rag for these, for this will be better. Hang on. I'm going to put the tan rag down. So, as I said, these are preliminary, so I haven't... The only thing I've glued is the ball at one end. As you can tell, I didn't glue the beads down, and I can just pull them off the bottom. But I did glue the ball bearing at this end. These weigh quite... I mean, hang on. Let me move the mic a little bit. Hang on. I'll do this for you. Right. They make quite a good clunk on landing. They have a weight. Now, not being glued on, they can fall off. I will point out that the bead here at this end, when you buy 5mm beads, I expect it in 5mm beads. These are 4, so I do have to sandpaper it down a bit. But I've then put the ball bearing on the top, and the idea will be, let's get a bit of string to demonstrate. They're a bit big for gnomes, to be honest. I mean, compared to my hand, I mean, if I put, we are talking, decent size here. The plan will be that you wrap your string round. No, you don't normally wrap it round like this. Normally you have to kind of do this, but we're not going to do any work with it. So let's just wrap this round like this. So this can go down here like this. And then the knot will go over and round between the bead and the ball. So now I have bobbin. So this is how I intentionally will make them work. Apparently this black doesn't come off. You start off with, well, hang on. I have a plastic bag of sticks. You may notice they're a tad longer. You then chop them in half. So you end up with 2 sticks. You then colour them in with a Sharpie. So, of course, I've got coloured Sharpies. So, I may make enough to do this. I probably could, actually. They are a bit fiddly to make. But I've got an entire pack of coloured ones, so I've got a lot of colours. But of course, being a wood base, that does taint the colour. So, for example, I've got like a pale pink one, but I imagine that would look pretty skanky on top of the wood. I mean, who knows? I can always colour over it with black, right? But I really do like the black and silver. I like the weight. I'm really pleased with the items I bought. I haven't decided totally. Paint has a different problem, right? But I haven't decided whether I want to do kind of that at the top, or because this is definitely the bottom in my eyes. I don't have any to hand. The youngest children I have access to all turn 18 on the 6th of July. All three of them. 2 belong to one lot, 1 belongs to another lot, and they were all born on the 6th of July. Me too. I was child labour. I held many positions as a child. Most of them in carpentry, but occasionally painting and decorating, shifting. So I was, like the stage crew. I was official dad pusher, cushion carrier, car cleaner, dog walker, as I said, painting, decorating, many forms of carpentry, many tool fetcher, shopping carrier. Well, and then of course when I was working on the farm, it wasn't a farm for animals, it was a produce farm, so digging, picking, washing, boxing, packing, carrying, labelling, weighing. I know you're feeling, and it's kind of like, and then you go and apply for a job as an adult, and they go, oh, you haven't got any experience. How much do you expect in a 16-year-old child? But also, bitch, I've got years of it. We did have chickens for a long time. Well, it is. Exactly. You know. I don't think. I mean, when we were children arguably didn't have rights, and I mean that in the right way. In the, if your parents told you to do crap, you did crap, right? I mean, as you got older, you got a little bit more arsey and no, I don't want to. But as a generic rule, well, especially when you were younger, if Mummy said, "Hold this, go get that," you wouldn't have frigging got it because you knew full well if you didn't, a whack would be coming along in your direction. Now, I'm not saying that slappings were, entirely unsuitable for children, because I actually do believe occasional slappings could help. Because, if you look at a lot of the mouthy, obstinate children that you see, maybe you wouldn't be quite so bad if at some point someone had given you one, a thick ear for something. What exactly? Well, it shouldn't be a free ride. And one of the things that I, without outing where this comes from, someone I know who had children, one of their kids would, they'd give them a lift to school. I mean, hello, we never got lifts to school. It didn't matter, it was 5 miles, you fucking walked. Well, yeah. Well, this kid would get driven to school and then refuse to go in. And my brain's going, what do you mean refuse to go in? Since when was that an option? I mean, in our day, while bunking was a thing when we were younger, the truth of the matter is, most of us, but we had, your parents, you will walk to school, you will attend school. If I hear from your school, you just didn't dare. Whereas kids, oh, I'm not going to school, I don't want to. What do you mean you don't want to? None of us wanted to. Please do not understand. Very few of people in our age were like, oh, me, I want to go to school. But you went to school because you've been told you should, so you did. And I've always struggled with what do you mean it's optional? What do you mean you have the choice to say no? Since when do you get the choice to say, I don't want to? That's not a choice. Let's face it. I have days where, do I want to go to work? No. Do I go to work? Yes. Because this is how life works. Yes, I can call in sick, but, if I did it more than a couple of times a year, I'd be up in front of HR. Well, it does to an extent, but, most employers do not take kindly to the, sorry, boss, didn't come in yesterday, couldn't be asked. You don't get to do that more than once, usually, So, yeah, there are lots of times that there are... and this is the problem. For people who have genuine need, I have no problem. For people who can't be asked, well... you said it, not me, but I'm not going to disagree with you. Because like I said, if you listen to how rude, how lazy, how entitled so many can be. Now, obviously, there are some nice people out there. Let's not take away from them. But when you have... there was a kid and she didn't like her iPad or something. And that is the problem. That's why I agree with you. I am a strong believer that, slapping for the sake of slapping is truly abuse. And I'm not going to disagree with that. But at the same time, if you have tried every alternative manner and going, now, Johnny, that's not very nice, it's not helping, well, you need to up the... don't get me wrong. At the age of 53, I live kind of like the university lazy kind of lifestyle, given the chance. But I don't have dependents other than a couple of dogs. There's a bit of a difference in that, I am not responsible for other humans, so... my actions only really affect myself. It's not the same, Hello! How are you? Getting that way over here. Absolutely getting that way over here. Someone with children I know of. Their child deliberately made sure police could see her and started screaming that her parents were abusing her, and the police started taking an interest that this could be real. The abuse was she wasn't getting away. That was the only wrongdoing, was that they'd said no. Not exactly abuse now, is it? It's not like, they'd chained her up in the cellar or beat her or anything of the sort. But she tried to claim that in front of police that her parents were abusing her. And of course, it's a bit like in any situation like that. Almost the more you try and deny it, the more guilty you look. Exactly. You and me both. And I think many of us would have, I mean, I still swear I've had slaps off my mother that CSI could probably still get fingerprints today. I mean, seriously. I'm not still, when bits of me hurt, I'm not sure it's because it's my body remembering that it still hurts from that slap 40 years ago, Well, I didn't get many, I do have to point out, but I do remember very much, pretty much every one I ever had, right? Now, this doesn't feel right. Actually, it is. It's alright. I thought I'd managed to do one of my screw-ups somehow, but I wasn't quite sure I don't think so. I think I'm good. So, I think I'm good. But yeah, it's, as I said, my to be honest, I've met many children that even one slap in their entire lifetime, that would not be the child in front of me today, One reinforced no, and no means no. And then whack. Would have changed an awful lot. You see, that would be the kind of crap my parents pulled. I do remember one for breaking my mother's hairbrush. So she had a kind of fairly normal looking hairbrush, but it was made out of Bakelite. And I managed to do something, dropped it on the sink. Because I don't know if you know, I've mentioned this a few times. I picked things up and just seemed to let go for no appropriate reason. Well, I picked up the hairbrush, dropped it. It landed on the edge of the sink and broke in half. So I put it behind the curtain, hoping she wouldn't notice. I mean, how do you not notice, right? But kid logic for you. And then denied it was me. Well, there's only 3 people in the house. Kind of limits it a bit. So I got a good ass whoop for that. I broke up a dog fight by stepping in the middle. I remember the fucking slap for that. Holy crap, I think that's one of the ones you can still get a CSI handprint from out of. I'm pretty sure. I think the sound wave from that's still rippling around the world. By the way, I think I was 3 or so when that happened. I swear on my life, there is still a handprint from that. I was on leading reins, for Christ's sake. My mum had the dog with me. Some dog picked on my dog and I got in the middle. I remember doing it. actually remember doing it. I think I remember doing it because of the slap, more accurately. So I remember what I did. Whack! And how much that freaking hurt. And I'm not saying my mother was wrong, because obviously, should said dog have turned around and bitten me, that could have been really bad, because I really was quite little. But I stopped it. I was protecting my dog. And the whack that I got was number one up there. I mean, we've all seen the pictures of the slap competition that goes on, where they whack them and occasionally their entire face instantly swells and half knocks them out. And yep, that's exactly what this was to my thigh. I got one of those. That smarted somewhat. So I remember that one. So, you know, I'm trying to think what else did I get one for. I remember getting the slipper for something. What did I get the slipper for? I remember, obviously, my mother thought it was so bad that one of her slaps wasn't enough. Believe me, my mother's slap was more than plenty. My ex-husband will tell you that mothers of our era went to slapping school, because they all had this thing where they'd like grab you by the wrist. You know, they'd pick you up by the wrist and slap you on the arse stroke thigh. And it was the tautening of the skin, the slight cupping of the hand, that, you know, it was to a perfection. And they all seem to instantly go to this, like, mother slapping class, you know. And I'm not convinced he was wrong, you know, because it did seem to be a technique they all had. And they'd all obviously graduated because they all were absolutely effective at it. And the idea of getting one of those was enough to stop you doing quite a lot. I mean, you really, really wanted whatever, but the idea of that slap did stop you, you know? Now, a lot of people go, oh, but that's just because your child is fearful. Yeah, what's wrong with that? It should be fearful of a punishment that it brought upon itself. So yeah, I am a little bit like that. As I say, I do agree that it's not so, you know, little Johnny says you look fat in that does not necessarily equal a slap. But at the same time, the longer term, more repeated, less effectual things. Well, that's the thing. You know, there has to be graduations. There has to be the go and sit on the step and think about what you've done level, through to the that could have killed somebody, whack variety. You know, then it's really not always a wrong answer. But again, it also depends on the child. Like we were saying yesterday, in the saying to some people, you didn't try, will make them try harder. Saying to people like me, you didn't try, results in the, I'm not doing that, right? I won't try next time then. And so it depends on the child. And I think, you know, and if sometimes it's quite apparent that whatever you're currently doing isn't effective. So change of tactic possibly is in order here. But as you say, too many, a friend of mine puts it in this phrase, too many children want to be their child's friend, not their parent. They want to be the, oh, mummy will give me anything kind of person, than the, mummy said no. Because mummy doesn't say no. Mummy can't stand the idea of little whatever not liking her for a decision that she made. Well, perhaps little whatever needs to be told no. And I do think a few more no's with an occasional backup whack should the nose not be enough and more lighter punishments being ineffective, the world would be quite a different place. I haven't forgotten one video, it was American by the way, one video of a parent, and it didn't seem to be a hoax one, so I have every reason to believe it was genuine. Well, this video, Daddy had spent the afternoon upgrading kids' laptop because she'd done well in her exams, and you know, she'd done loads of things, she'd done all of her chores, and he upgraded this and he put that and he installed this for her, and then he logged into her Facebook. Well, she opened up a browser to check everything was working, and it opened on her Facebook, which was automatically logged in, and basically she was slagging off her parents and everything that he had ever done for her. And he made this video as a response. Now, you and I both know that if we'd done that... You know where it's not a cult? Now, many of us will know the direction that our parents would have taken if we'd so much as had the audacity to dream of doing this, let alone actually open our mouths and said it, right? So being American, you're not going to be too surprised that this video was set in a field, and there was a reason for that. He's sitting on kind of a stool from memory, and he's talking to the camera, and he's got the laptop in his lap, and he's going, you know, so I set about doing this laptop for my daughter, blah. And you know, I put this on it, I did that, and I paid for this, and I gave her more memory, gave her a bigger hard disk, cleaned it all up, you know, gave it a bit of a clean out, made it all run a lot faster because, you know, she's doing this soon, and you know, all the rest of it. And he explained that, you know, he'd opened the browser, got confronted with this Facebook, basically calling her parents, you know, every name under the sun and slagging them off. So he put it on the floor and shot it. And it was like, yeah, congratulations, well done. Good for you. Because to be honest, that's the kind of shit my parents would have done. Oh, if it's not good enough, you don't want it then. Bang. I mean, my parents wouldn't shoot it because we're British, but, you know, they certainly would have given it away, sold it, you know. With it, not in a heartbeat. They wouldn't even have missed a heartbeat thinking that one out. But in a way, we need more people like that with their children. Yeah. Absolutely destroy it. You know, smack it with a hammer a lot. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, smack it with a lump hammer. Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Is that to be honest, I really think we need more people prepared to stand up to the stroppy child like that. There was one recently I saw, and this over-entitled child came out the house with her iPad and went, I didn't want this one, so she threw it sideways on the floor, wanged it into the pavement as hard as she could and broke it. Well, I'm not getting you anything else. I hope you enjoy your rubble. My parents would never have bought me a gift that expensive, to be honest. Exactly. My ex-husband was telling me of one where a girl, again American I think, but a girl for her birthday got bought a car. And her parents gave it to her before the birthday party. And she went absolutely mental because they'd completely spoiled her life. Well, and to be honest, I'm so glad that that's the case, because there are nice children out there, do not get me wrong. There really are. But there are also drowning by being surrounded by kids who are over entitled, spoiled, and frankly little shit. And when are we, like everything, I mean, in the UK here we have quite a few, quote, dangerous dog breeds. Well, one day someone's going to work out it's not the dog. It's not the dog at all. It's the idiot it's the other end of the lead that you've got to worry about. I know how you feel. I must admit, one of the times I really thought I was going to have to pull out some of my best hat tricks. I was in Tesco's with a basket of produce that I was picking up for my shopping, and this little random child came flying round the corner and head-butted my basket. And along came this Karen-looking lady. And normally, how dare you hit my child, is the first words out of her face. No, not at all. No, this one was, look at the child. I told you to stop running. And then she made it apologise to me. But it is so rare, right? I remember there was a kid, again in Tesco's, I shop in Tesco's a lot. This kid was slightly insulting, but not intentionally. So down the aisle in Tesco, I'm walking down and he's doing something, and he all but kind of climbs in the shelf to get out my way, because I'm an adult, and he clearly, and he got out, he was getting out of my way so that I could go about my shopping. And I was somewhat taken back because, well, frankly, while I'm a tad fat, I'm not clear the aisle fat. I mean, you could still very much get three of me in across of an aisle. You didn't really have to climb on the shelf to do it. So, slightly insulted in that sense. But at the same time, the fact that his child didn't do what most kids do, which of course is expect me to move for it. When it came to checkout, they were on the line in front of me. Well, I think he probably had. And as I said, Mummy and Kid were on the counter in front of me, next one over. And I managed, because I only had a small basket of crap, because of course I'm single, so there's only so much in it. I walked up to her afterwards and said, I just want to thank you in bringing up a lovely child with beautiful manners. And she spun round like almost like the possessed and went, see, I told you it was worth it. To this kid. Look, this nice lady has thanked me for your beautiful manners. See? I was like, so clearly there'd been a few words said at some point. But it was so nice to see. And interestingly enough, actually, I think I'd met them before. If I'm right, this kid who had kind of climbed in the shelf had an accident and given himself brain damage as a result. Nothing major, but he'd had to learn to kind of gain coordination, and his speech was a little bit slurry. And this was a while later, so he'd obviously improved a lot more by then. Because I swear it was the same kid I ran into in the dog park, and he was learning to ride his bicycle again. But, it was so nice to see a kid with manners. I felt I had to say something, because it's so uncommon these days. So yeah, Well, and that's the problem. You know, why is it that you almost have to, like, herald them saviour on high because they brought up a child who's not a little shit? I mean, this isn't how the world is supposed to be, people. No. Yeah. But we had a... Yes. You are scared of the punishment, not the people administering it. No, I need those, idiot. Yeah. I don't know. drank me Coke and it went down the wrong hole. Yes, I need to go and get some more Coke in a minute. Good for you. Well done. Right, I'm going to go and get me some more drink so that I can inhale it again and try not to kill myself on it. If I will hit the be right back sign and throw up some adverts. I know you've just had some adverts pretty much, but it means then that they won't come back for a while, so you're not missing out. I will see you. More drink. Definitely more drink. Ooh, we're all back now. Excellent. Sorry about that. I needed some more drink. Hopefully I won't try to inhale this one. That's better. So we need a couple more of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need you 4. There we go. This is the wrong number. That's because you are already out. That's why. We nearly started making the same mistake again. Did I add one then? Yes. stop running further away. Oh, nearly there, nearly there. Got a slight backache and a bit of cramp. Oh. Can you make less noise, please, puppy dogs? Thank you. Stop licking her ears, Rory. Little man. She doesn't need soggy ear. No, you don't need soggy ear, do you? No. Don't need to lick and suck on her ears. No. He does it so horrible. I mean, he does it as a kind of as a sign of affection, but he sits there sucking on her ears to the point they're literally dripping wet sometimes, and it clearly annoys her slightly, as I'm sure we can all potentially relate. You don't mean to be horrible, do you? No. You just succeed. Yes. Yes, you do. Right. I don't need my hand licked, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. you over there. Bring you down here. On to the final chunk for this triangle. Yay. Can you be shorter, please? This is when I get really annoyed with these bobbins, because sometimes they loop round each other and they don't want to part. That's fair enough. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the company. Come on, little man. Come on. I've made room for you. Come on. Come here. No, come here. Come on. There you go. Ah, there you go. No, this didn't mean more me. No. What? I know. I know. You've been a good boy today. You have. You have. You have been good boy. Yes. Yes, you have. Big huggy. Oh, big huggies. Oh, dear me. Big huggies. Hello. Yes. He's a good boy. What? 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 Hey? He's a good boy. You are. If you stick your nose just a tiny bit further forward, you'll be on camera. You will. You, my friend. I do love you. I do. Very much. Hey, pup. Come on, off you get. Come on. Come on. Yes, you growl at the little tiny pop. Yeah. You tell them, Rory. You tell them. Yes, you tell them. Good boy. Yes, you tell him, little girl. You tell them. Yes. It's very difficult to encourage Rory, but not her. Yes. You've got Gecko. You have Gecko. Can I have Gecko? I can. Can I have Gecko? Meet Gecko, everybody. It's Gecko. Yes. Yeah, you woofed at it, Rory. You barked at it. You were a good boy. Gecko's technically Rory's toy. Where's her dino? Is it still in the hall? Is it? She's got Gecko. She has. She hasn't done this for quite a while. Walk round carrying a toy. No? Hey, my little man. Hey, are you a good boy? Come on, off you go. Oh, stop being an arse. Okay, put that in. Let's push that over there a little bit. Right. This feels wrong. But I don't know that it is. From where I'm sitting, it looks very wrong, but I think it's the angle. And it's not aided by the fact that this, of course, is not pinned down by anything. But it comes over there. Now, I'm going to keep going for now. So let's put that there. Why can't I put this in the hole? There, thank you. That looks all wrong, but I know it's not. It's just because the threads are weird. Ugh, Spambot. You have come here to die, my friend Spambot. Yeah, I have. They do like that. They do love coming here to die. We have 100% success rate. You know that, right? Every one I've reported, they've completely obliterated from Twitch. So. Come on. Come on. Rory, get on the couch and stay still. Thank you. Just settle down, my man. No, do not maul me. You're just being annoying. Because you'll get off again in 10 seconds. Don't be pretending that you're all healthy, helpful and good. Because you'll hear an ant fart in Nova Scotia in a minute and you'll be off. See, I told you you'd get off again in a minute. Wretched animals. Right. So, triangle 31 has been completed. Go me. Let me do my little picture. So go update the thing. So I go in there. I really ought to put this somewhere more sensible, but I don't because I'm silly. I know. 31 wretched triangles. It is quite a lot, after all. Wrong colour. There. Right. And then we need to export it. This one, yes. Export. There we go. Updated the picture. Go us. So I will be back tomorrow for I take it as my excuse to go and do other things. Possibly, of course, make more bobbins. I really do like, they look really elegant, don't they? They look like fancy kind of twirling baton things. By the way, I was never any good at the finger twiddling thing, so I can only do so much and then it gives up. I need to work out, now I've stopped playing with the lace, let me give them a good rub with my fingers. It does come off slightly, so I will need to find, I was told it does not, but it clearly friggin' does. Where's the other one? The one that I put white thread on. So, what I can do is more loosely put this on it so that I can kind of wind it up and down and kind of rub it, and we can see how bad it is. You can't really see what I'm doing. What I'm doing is winding it on very loosely. That's fine. So let me just kind of wind this on so that it's not a big lump of crap on and annoying. Right. So what I'll do is I will rub it up and down a fair few times like this, because, you know, simulates macho wearo. And then, yeah, I can see it's coming off. Look, you can see it's coming off because, well, it's gone grey and horrible. But if I rub it up and down, and then, yeah, that's come off quite a bit. I mean, see, A, there's some on my fingers, but B, you can see it on there. So I am going to have to find something to seal it with. But I will have to, I know what I can do, of course, is put this back down, like this, and then pick you up, like this, and turn him round. Like that. There you go. Ah. So everybody's all sorted, ready for tomorrow. I can take my customary photograph of the there you go, customary photo. But yes, thank you for joining me today. I will be back tomorrow evening, sometime between around about now and a couple of hours time, so between 24 and 26 hours time. It'll be Monday. I'll be full of the joys of work. I apologise. So, but I thank you for joining me today. We are getting ready for Triangle 32. And then, of course, once we've done that, we're going to sew all the wretched squares together when we get to the end. But we are very getting close to the end. We are potentially like 5 weeks away. Hey, me, young lady, 5 weeks away from having all of the squares to make a little net curtain. Yes, and it should all be good. I do have some bias stuff I'm going to make into bias tape. I don't know if I showed you. Hang on. Everything comes in wretched shiny packaging, but I bought some, I know it looks really thick, but you've got to remember, I'm going to kind of fold it into quarters and then over itself, so it's only going to be as quarter of wide of that at the very, very end, because I will fold it over to make, although it's got nice edges on it, I'll fold it over to make it nice and thick and strong. And so the kind of like the top centimetre will be kind of encased to an extent, or less, but I will have sewed it into the bias tape so that I can then use the bias tape as, either I'll fold it in half and just kind of hold it together and then slide it across the pole, or I will allow those little rings that you get with clips on the end to sit on a bar, But I do think going over the bar might be a better option. So I might actually just fold it in half and then make sure the top edge of the lace is sewn in to the edge of that, so that it is all kind of neat and tidy at the top. Hence, of course, on the strips, doesn't really matter if they're not tidy, because, well, they'll be inside a thing. And of course, with the strip, I can make a blanker bit at the top to give me a bit more room to play with as well. Which is a bit harder on a square. I could make a strip to go across the top, but that wouldn't really be fun, would it? So, but we are done. We have completed yet another triangle. We normally do a bit of a customary review of the visible errors. So I'm going to have a quick perusal. That looks like there's a bit of a strangeness of tension going on, because there's a real straight line going here. And, well, all the lines should be that way or that way. So something's a little bit strange. But that's okay. That's a bit loose, but nothing to write home about. I mean, comparatively, compared to many days, they're not leaping out at me too much. You could be a bit rounder. That's not twisted. That's not twisted. They're not twisted. It is very common to, because it's the going out pair that doesn't get twisted. Now, what do I mean by that? If you remember, as I go this way, I ingest the ones from the right, so they're travelling in that direction, so they're going that way. So therefore, it's the ones that come out that end up not twisted sometimes. So sometimes they end up on this side, sometimes they end up on that side. So going this way, they're coming out this side, but you tend to twist them as part of making the little corner points. On this, as they go down this way though, they're coming out into the mesh, and they just come out as a pair, and it's very easy to forget to twist them before you use them. So I do a fair bit of that, which is slightly annoying. That one's got a really nice big hole in the middle and looks really quite cool. Some of these squovels look more square than circular. In essence, they can look circular entirely. It's all down to, well, there are rules and laws. Oh, look, there's an error. If you look, square, 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 each square's got a hole in it. Here, there's 3 holes. So this was a fuck up. This I did not do correctly. And of course now I've seen it, I can't not see it. Typical. Character assassination. Once again, how do I do these things? Because really, it's not that hard. But it's Monday, so tomorrow being Monday, I am going to turn this upside down so that the blank end is facing me. So that tomorrow I get to put my work laptop here. And that way I don't have to hide this. I can just leave it here. So let's put that down. And put some cloths over the top to keep it all safe and sound. In case of tails, because that's definitely a thing. So, thank you once again for attending. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Let me quickly see if there's someone I know who's around who you might want to watch, because it is the nice thing to do. Let's see if there is anyone I know. Oh no, let me quickly look, see what this person's doing. Um, it does not look like anyone I know is... well, they are, but when I click on it, I don't get a picture. But, I'm going to send you over to cross stitch, so for those of you who are still here, good luck and enjoy.